Man, well, I want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us on Trenton Talks TV radio broadcast. I'm your brother, Minister Gerald Trueheart. I serve as Vice President of Trenton Board of Education. I serve as the Assistant School Business Administrator in Lawrence Township Public Schools. I also serve as Associate Minister at New Horizon Baptist Church under Elder Albert C. Madlock Jr. The broadcast is focused around four key value topics: public education, civic engagement, servant leadership, and economic opportunities. The broadcast is streamed live via Facebook on Trueheart TV, YouTube via Trueheart TV, and rebroadcast on the following channels: radio on WIMG1300.com on Tuesdays at 7, TV WPHY Verizon Channel 28 on Thursdays at 11. I want to thank our sponsors, WIMG 1300 AM and WPHY Verizon Channel 28. I want to thank our listeners, both on the radio, TV, and streaming live via YouTube and Facebook. We have an exciting educational and informative broadcast for you this evening. A great opportunity for us to come together with my brother, Gene Bowie, Executive Director, Training and Development Division for New Jersey African American Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Gene Bowie. God bless you, my brother. He's also a board member with me, a colleague with me on the Trenton Board of Education, served as president of Trenton Board of Education. Gene Bowie under training and development now with the New Jersey African American Chamber of Commerce, working to empower people through preparation and in most cases restoration to enable them to live productive and successful lives, working in partnership with Mercer County Community College with some great programming there as well, connecting people to resources and resources to people through partnerships and authentic collaboration that will assist people to overcome obstacles formed by systematic barriers that prevent them from contributing to the New Jersey economy. So I want to welcome my brother, Gene Bowie.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Podcast. God bless you.
Bless you also.
We also have with us Jessica Mulkey, Director, Division of Lifelong Learning with Mercer County Community College. I want to welcome Jessica to our broadcast this evening. Works on day-to-day operations with the Dean, Dr. Gonzalo Perez, who's Dean of Innovation, Online Education, and Student Success, as well as Dean of Division of Lifelong Learning. He'll be joining us momentarily. Jessica works with areas such as professional development, operations, continuing education around conferencing centers, arms of the college, and basically every department within the division. She has direct oversight and direction to staff responsible for coordinating and supporting over 140 programs for Mercer County Community College, providing strategic planning and support services to the dean, implementation of programmatic offerings, speaking to needs of the community and workforce industries, and supporting community members, incumbent workers, and businesses within the country. So welcome, Jessica Mulkey. I appreciate you being on the broadcast this evening. I see that our Dr. Perez is on his way in. I want to thank God for him today. I want to start off with Gene. This is a question from Gene. How did the partnership begin with the New Jersey African American Chamber of Commerce and Mercer County Community College, and to provide the services to our community?
Yeah, it's really it's really interesting. I guess it goes back about 18 months now. Originally, what happened is right about the time that I was working on the root cause analysis of gun violence for the city of Trenton. I can't recall how I got engaged with brother Dr. Gonzalo, and I said to him, well, Mercer County Community College is right here in town. What are you doing to address this poverty thing? And so he says to me, Brother Gene, we've got lots of programs. And so he sent me a flyer, and I said, well, who knows about it? And so what we did was, I think our collaboration, our partnership, because that's what I see it as, started from there. And the first leg of that was realizing that out of 600 students who graduate from Trenton Central High School, only about 40% of those go on just immediately to a university, community college, or technical schools. And so we collaborated to do information sessions with seniors, so that once they graduated, they could immediately get enrolled in continuing education courses at Mercer County Community College. And what really was slick about it is that there was community development block grant money that actually paid for the scholarships. And just recently, we had to collaborate with some marvelous people to come up with funding. But there is a huge opportunity for Trenton residents to actually go and to get certifications to transform their lives. And so Mercer County Community College has been a great partner as far as I'm concerned. I love my brother. He's, and just really incredible. I don't know. I think even last June, they actually participated in a program that we did for young men grades 6 through 12 at the high school, where they came in and they actually presented some of the opportunities for students as it relates to Mercer County Community College. So it's been an incredibly fun ride, and it's really interesting. I thank you for this opportunity, Brother Gerald, because there is the collaborations allows us to break down the barrier, which when you think about poverty in Trenton, it's about almost 30%, 28.7%. And one of the barriers to transformation is that folks can't afford to go and get certifications or to go to school. And so this collaboration is facilitating folks to literally call in, speak to someone at Mercer County Community College, enroll, register, and start taking courses. And that's just a blessing.
Yeah, definitely. So that see that Dr. Gonzalo Perez is on, and he's Dean of Innovation, Online Education, Student Services, Dean of Division of Lifelong Learning, focused on strategic vision and planning for the Mercer County Community College, implementing and offering so many support services, online education, student success, testing and tutoring, a Center for Inclusion and Transition, around the Division of Lifelong Learning, observing, analyzing growing business industries within the state and the county, and providing relevant training for growth within our job market here, and providing opportunity for community members participating in programs, dealing with reskill, upskill, and providing greater impact to our community. So I want to welcome Gonzalo Perez, Dr. Gonzalo Perez from Mercer County Community College. Welcome, my brother. God bless you. I know he's here. We're going to turn it right over to you, Jessica. Jessica Mulkey. Dr. Perez having some challenges with his online stream. We're going to ask you to kind of open up for us from Mercer County Community College. Jessica?
Sure. Good evening. Thank you so much again for welcoming us into this space to share our relationship with Mr. Bowie and the community at large. So we have an incredible interest, Dr. Perez and I, when we took over the division a little bit over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Dr. Perez, came in and has drastically assisted the division with more community engagement. I stepped in, and as I've shared, oversee professional development, which is our Mercer Institute. So that arm works with the businesses within the county, nonprofits, state agencies, in providing that professional development for the existing workforce. And then on the continuing studies side, of course, we are actively engaged with the community, as Mr. Bowie alluded to, and we've been so blessed and fortunate to work with such a wonderful community ally and advocate. And so we've basically gone on a circuit, if you will, of making our programs not only the community aware of our programs, but probably more importantly, making the programs accessible. So as Mr. Bowie shared, we have 2 campuses in West Windsor, and of course our James Kearney campus, which is our original campus in the county. And we, have many programs available. that are certifications, state licensure, industry specific. And we have the flexibility in our space that doesn't go through that formal post-secondary process to kind of look at the trends within the county, new businesses that are emerging, and create programs that are customized and tailored to meet those industry demands and a healthy workforce. So thank you again so much for having me. We are super grateful to be here this evening.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to find out, what if I'm a resident of the city of Trenton and I graduated from Trenton High and I'm not working presently, and I want to receive an opportunity to get credentialed, get certified. What's the process for me as a resident of the city, graduate Trenton High? I want to work, but I need to get certified. How do I go about doing that?
Absolutely, a great question. So there are two paths. Our division in continuing education, and I'll speak specific to the Department of Continuing Education because that's what's most relevant in this space. So it would be considered a very easy process. Mr. Bowie said it perfectly. You would look at our programmatic offerings. They are eligible for open enrollment by anyone. There is no application, except for specific programs. There are a couple of programs where you do go through, and I can speak to those. It's only 2 of them. There's no application. You come in, express your interest in the program. Fortunately, right now, we do have funding available to support your educational journey as a resident of Trenton, and not even specific geographically. So any of our programs, like I said, some of them are personal interests, some of them are state licensure, some of them are certification. We offer preparation courses for everything from phlebotomy, which everyone knows what that is. You have to go get your blood taken once a year, twice a year, depending on your situation. We have state certifications in EKG, medical billing and coding. We have advanced manufacturing. So our programs are a career pathway. And by that, we mean it's a short-term credential that gets you into a job specific to that industry. You go and sit for your exam, which our course will well prepare you for, and then you start working within that industry. Our hope, Dr. Perez, and my hope always is that ignites a greater interest to be a lifelong learner, get stackable credentials, go into the space of having your phlebotomy credential, EKG credential, potentially getting your CNA credential. If you complete your CNA credential, then you're eligible to receive 9 credits towards your nursing degree. So that's really the ultimate goal, but it's also to invigorate, ignite, and fulfill the needs of our workforce for all of our respective industries. We have Capital Health, among many other large pharma companies, etc. So to answer your question, short and sweet, you call us. I can provide that number in the comments. You call us at our registration desk, and you look at our catalog of offerings on our website, which I can also share, and you find a program that suits your interests, and we help you through that process. If you're eligible for funding, we will absolutely pursue any opportunities that are available to you hand in hand.
And what's that number to contact?
Yep. So it is 609-570-3311. That is our registration desk. Once you identify a program that you have interest in, they will then pass you to one of my staff members, a coordinator within our division who kind of oversees the the logistics of that particular program, and then they would walk you through the process. We do have 2 programs that do require an application. Those 2 are the pharmacy technician program, as well as the CNA program right now. The reason those require an application is because those are an earn while you learn apprenticeship opportunity. So with those are grant funded. So the program, all of the expenses associated with the program are covered by the grant. And with that, you would then be hired by those agencies. So for CNA, it would be Genesis. For pharmacy tech, it would be CVS. And then you actually report to work and get paid while you're learning. So there would be, it varies in terms of schedule, but 2 to 3 days of active on-site hands-on clinical experience. And then the other days would be learning experiences. But in all of those instances, you get paid as if you're working the full time, and then you end off with your certification in that particular area of study with a job, and you've made money in the process. So those are the 2 that do require applications. And the coordinator for that program is, I can give you that information as well, Travis Rogers. So you can call that number again, 609-570-3311. and ask directly to speak with Travis Rogers. He is our coordinator for the HealthWorks Scaling Apprenticeship Grant.
Hey, Brother Gerald, if I could just add a piece, what's really interesting to me, and I think the trigger for me in this, I'll give you a perfect example. So, we're engaged with the city of Trenton, and there is a huge need for building inspectors, right? So one of the certifications is in building inspection. Well, it's a 2-month program. And when you think about the starting salary, there's a salary range, but the beginning of that range is north of $40,000. And so there's a demand, and the luxury or blessing to have a demand and to have a course being taught that's going to give you a certificate so that you could go and immediately go to work in your hometown is like really huge. We did in August, we did an information session downtown. I think 3 people enrolled in that class. So that's some huge stuff. It's huge opportunity. Poverty in the city of Trenton is no longer an excuse because you've got a great partner in Mercer County Community College to help open doors, right? I think that's a big deal, really.
And I'll piggyback on that, Mr. Bowie. So I always equated, we are huge proponents of post-secondary education, obviously being in academia. But I like to always, I'm a visual learner personally, and I always like to create the visual. So no matter what your station is in life, no matter what your education level is in life, we all get up from a mattress in the morning. And that mattress was created in a warehouse where there were certified production technicians, there were machinists who assisted in that. That's a certification. Then you get up, you go to your sink, you go to brush your teeth, the toothbrush, the tube of toothpaste, again, manufacturing. Your water that comes out from a plumber, all certifications. You go downstairs, you make your cup of coffee machine, again, certifications. There were certainly engineers and everyone else in between that made that possible. But the way we function in life, when we go to get in our car, if something is wrong, we don't take it to a PhD, we don't take it to a MD, we take it to a mechanic. And so in order to live our lives, one of our biggest narratives and discussions and dialogues in the Division of Lifelong Learning is making not only relevant education accessible, but accessible to all, which is why we are so adamant and supportive of Mr. Bowie, and he goes and looks for grants, we go and look for grants, and just really consistently making it available to anyone who is interested in supporting the community. And by supporting the community, that's your phlebotomist, that is your CNA, that is your EKG technician, that is your advanced manufacturing NIM certification, that is your building inspector who's going through the state required licensure. And that's what our division is about. Again, we are always consistently developing new programs, really based on New Jersey Business Industry Association's statewide studies that they do, working in collaboration with them. So, yeah.
I just wanted to share one thing from what you said. Is when I look at the list, I have a workforce credentials sheet right here. I can actually bring it up on the screen, but I think it may be too small for our listeners and viewers. You mentioned certified nurses aid, Gene, 3-month program, $1,400 cost, from $30,000 to $44,000 starting salary. You mentioned a phlebotomy technician, 3 months program, $1,870 for the certification. A lot of these costs, I understand, are grants and scholarships for students, $35,000 to $44,000. EKG cardiac technician, 3 months, $1,550 tuition, $43,000 starting salary. You mentioned advanced manufacturing boot camp, 9-month program, $4,200 for the certification, and the starting salary is between $39,000 and $65,000. These are folks to it. All they need is a high school diploma, or can they get a GED? And then
GED, high school diploma. These are certification programs. These are everyday individuals. There are no requisites for any of the programs that you just listed, or really any of our programs except for CTMR, which does require an associate's degree in radiology. But no, all of the programs you just listed in the bulk of our programs are eligible and open for all. And they are careers. They are stepping stones to opportunity. Absolutely.
That's excellent. I mean, we need to get this information out. That's why it's very important for the broadcast to share the information with our community, with Gene Bowie, yourself, Jessica Mulkey, and others. Dr. Perez, the dean over there at Mercer County Community College, of course, our Trenton Public Schools family here, about the students who graduate from high school and want to get certified in various areas, can do so through Mercer County Community College. And so, Gene, I'm gonna give you guys the last word. Gene, we'll go to Jessica and then Gene, the last word.
Okay, so
go ahead, Gene.
So just to show you how I'm really excited about this. So last year, Trenton Public Schools, the superintendent and the assistant superintendents invited Mercer County Community College over a course of 3 or 4 days to speak with every high school senior. So just think, that's over 600 students that got touched by this information. And so their desire is to replicate that again, because if we know that only between 30 and 40% of our young people are going to graduate high school and go off immediately to some post-secondary track at University Community College or trade school, that means that just on numbers, that's about 400 that are either going to wander aimlessly, potentially getting in trouble, or go and work at McDonald's for $12 an hour because they need a job. It's bigger than a job. It's a career. And so access to the opportunity to get these certifications is life transformative, right? And then I think Sister Jessica mentioned a little earlier about layering or stacking these various credentials. The sky's the limits for our young people, and the blessing to having very generous donors who try to make these courses available, breaking down that barrier to access is a really big deal. So I appreciate you, Brother Gerald, for having us on. And I appreciate the relationship and the partnership that I have been blessed to establish with Mercer County Community College, Dr. Gonzalo, and also Jessica, because we're trying to impact lives. So.
Yes, excellent, Gene. Just wanted to share Here's the Advanced Manufacturing Bootcamp. Some information on that. Talks about grant-funded scholarships available, 6 months, 6 college credits. You earn up to 6 college credits with this Advanced Manufacturing Bootcamp program. And then you go over here. These are all the different workforce credentials. Now, Gene sent this to me, emailed this to me, and I was able to pull it down and bring it up on the screen here. But here's all the different programs. On this list shows the certified nurse's aide. It shows the phlebotomy technician, EKG cardiac technician. And then on the other side here, we're showing you the other programs. And one is the Advanced Manufacturing Bootcamp, which I mentioned. That's that 9-month program at $4,200 tuition. And again, there's scholarships available, grant-funded scholarships available. And I believe that also New Jersey African American Chamber of Commerce also has funding available to support community members and folks who need to get certified, want to find work, gain employment, economic empowerment and opportunities to take care of their families, to provide for their families and have a career. So that's great work, Gene.
Thank you. God bless you, brother. And we're always looking for, so if you guys know some donors that want to give some money and help pay for some scholarships, we'll be happy to oblige them.
Hey, man, I want to thank Gene Bowie, Executive Director, New Jersey African American Chamber of Commerce, definitely working with our community, working with our public schools, working with the community, our Mercer County Community College right here locally around Training and Development Institute over at New Jersey African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey. I want to thank Jessica Mulkey for being with us, Director of Division of Lifelong Learning, and of course, Dr. Gonzalo Perez, PhD, Dean of Innovation, Online Education, and Student Success, and Dean of Division of Lifelong Learning. Thank you so much for sharing this information with our community so that we can provide opportunity, economic opportunity for our citizens, not just here in the city of Trenton. Specifically, I'm focused on Trenton, of course, but of course, Mercer County as our Mercer County Community Colleges across the county. So I want to thank you both, all three of you guys, for being a part of our broadcast this afternoon. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
God bless you too. Y'all be safe.
All right. God bless. I see Melda Grant. I see Linda Watts Simpson. I see Jonathan. How you guys doing? Dr. Channing Conway. God bless you this evening. And we also have Jose Rodriguez. You did, Dr. Rodriguez. I saw your picture at one point on the broadcast. Maybe you got see how you have a phone. There you go. Oh, fantastic. Okay, I have you now. God bless you this afternoon. We want to hear talking about trauma-informed care with Trenton Public Schools. There's certainly a link with Mercer County Community College in Trenton. I know the superintendent talks to and works with you, Channing, along with Mercer County Community College around these credentialing programs here in the city of Trenton with our Trenton students today. When they go into a career, they were able to go through Mercer County Community College and go into one of these credentialing programs, but also opportunity, of course, to get their associate's degree at Mercer County Community College. But I want to thank our Trenton Public Schools family for being here this evening. Again, Linda Watts Simpson, and also Jonathan DeSimone, Melda Grant, Dr. Channing Conway, and Dr. Jose Rodriguez. God bless you, all of you.
And Gerald, we're so thankful to be here. And, we've been doing, as you know, a lot of work around trauma. And we thought that it was incredibly, or especially important as we approach the holiday season, to just the experiencing grief, dealing with loss, dealing with trauma, and how you navigate the holidays, things you might look for in your children, just to equip our parents with information as to how they can best support one another and best support their children. And so, as you mentioned, we have Jonathan DeSimone with us, who is currently our vice principal, one of our vice principals at Trenton Central High School. But Jonathan, in his former position, was the head of our crisis team, we'd like to say, and also the supervisor of guidance and assessment. We have Linda Wyatt Simpson, who is a school counselor at Rivera Elementary School. We have Melda Grant, who is the head of the coordinator of our school-based youth services program, which is a program that provides all different types of supports for our students in grades 6 through 12. And so again, I've had an opportunity to work with all of these individuals individually as part of their roles in their respective positions, but these individuals also double time as members of our district's crisis team. And so I had an opportunity, fortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to work with them while I was a building principal, but unfortunately, we've experienced some grief and some loss this school year. So I've got to work closely with these individuals as they support our students and our faculty dealing with the trauma that comes along with loss. And I can say, while I had the utmost respect for their work as individual counselors, vice principals, and coordinators, seeing them come together to support our families and our schools as members of the crisis team it was amazing to watch them work. And so we have some highly trained, highly skilled professionals on here to kind of share their expertise. So I just wanted to kind of give them a little bit of praise for the work that they do and a little introduction.
One thing, Channing, I want to thank Melda Grant for being here and all the others. I know most of the folks who are here this evening on the broadcast and who have been on the broadcast in the past, but thank God for school-based youth services statewide and the impact that if they would have changed the structure of the program, what kind of devastating impact that would have had on not only on our district, but on statewide. So Melda, thank God that the governor decided to not to go in that direction, but to maintain the program, I believe, until 2024. So we have a lot. That does not mean that we need to sit back and say, okay, well, we're okay. No, we need to continue the fight. I know the superintendent went down to the State House and gave some testimony that helped to turn the tide from moving in a different direction to more of a regional center versus school-based center. And so we thank God for you, because we know right now, based on what Dr. Conway said, our assistant superintendent of elementary education division of our school district, mentioned about grief and about loss and how important your division is in our district. And of course, we can't do it without counselors. We can't do it without people like Linda Watt Simpson and Jonathan D. Simone, who's been on the broadcast before. I know guidance and assessment at the central service level, but then going into becoming a principal at Trenton High. I think that's just great work. And you, Channing, Dr. Conway, coming up the ranks, right? Coming up the ranks from, I remember you as a principal. I remember you as a teacher, but I remember you as a principal and now assistant superintendent of elementary school secondary. So we could start with any one of the counselors on the call. I know all of you have experience in counseling. What are you seeing as a major impact, the major reason for impacting the grief for students? I know death is certainly one of those, but what are some of the factors that impact our students in terms of them grieving? I'll start with you, Melda.
Thank you so much. So one of the main things that I always try to remind adults about is that when there is a loss, whether it's in the family or whether it's in the community, that children are impacted just as much as adults are. And while that sounds basic, a lot of times there's focus on the adults and not necessarily the children. Just as adults, we've lost loved ones and we've grieved for days, for months, even for years. A lot of times we tend to forget that children do as well. And those same supports that we provide for adults need to be provided for children. The other thing that I would also mention is, especially during the holidays, the staff and we just talked today about tomorrow being a reduced day and we're moving into Thanksgiving. And we were just having a conversation that we know usually when there's a reduced day, a lot of times during holidays, it doesn't mean that we're going home early, because kids tend to present with issues, especially during the holiday, because it's reminders to them of what they do not have. So we get a lot of kids dropping in right before the holiday, because now they're experiencing holidays without people who they've had in their lives.
Jonathan DeSimone?
So, if I may, I'd just like to go back a minute. So, I have been fortunate for the last 4 years of overseeing this district crisis team. And the team knows this because I tell them all the time. The irony is, this is the most amazing team that I've led, and they have such amazing experience. And I hate to have to meet. Meeting once a month on a regular basis is one thing to prepare, but I hate to have to call this team together. But the work that they do in the different schools and the different situations in the past few years is absolutely phenomenal. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the amount of work that they've done from literally the time we didn't even have or we had a rough draft of a manual to now having produced it, thanks in large part to Linda and some other folks on the team. It's amazing the work that's done. And I will tell you this much, as a vice principal at Trenton Central High School, one of the district-wide things that I'm still overseeing is this district crisis team. And I would not at all be upset if I were asked to continue overseeing this team. I don't like for them to have to meet because that means something came up. However, the amount of resources, experience, I actually just posted in the chat, which hopefully maybe we could put on website or however you might be able to do this, Gerald, some resources about grief during the holidays. The folks on the team are way more experienced in the counseling side of things in terms of grief and loss. So kudos to them. But I also wanted to just make mention of the fact that this team has really come together in the last number of years, and not just when something comes up, but you really see the professionalism and the experience and the ability to really comfort our students and our staff when tragedy hits the district.
Amen. Linda Watt Simpson?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that with grief, it's hard for the students to understand that it's a process. So some of the behaviors that we see in the students when there is a loss of a friend or a grandparent may not manifest right away. So that's one thing that we have to really make sure that we're in tune with. So when we go on a crisis call, and because Jonathan brought it up, it's important that we are there to support all of them. The teachers, the staff, especially the principals, they engulf and embody, so much of this grief because they're trying to manage the school, but nobody, ever thinks about what they might be going through. So it's, it's a one day we usually go out, we assess the situation, we're there to support, but 9 times out of 10, we go back and we have to go back weeks after and just check in with everyone. It's important for grief with students that we know, that we tell them the truth, that we tell them that, there is a loss, what happened. Don't tell them that they went to sleep because they didn't go to sleep. They're not coming back. So we need to be very truthful with our students. We need to be very upfront with the parents to let them know what the students are experiencing and allow the students to talk. A lot of times we go through these crisis situations and we just sit there and we listen. And I think that's one of the most important things that we can do to help our students. So I just wanted to mention that.
I'm going to circle back to Dr. Conway and Jonathan DeSimone as you think about the work that's happening in our district around grief and trauma-informed care. How are the parents receptive? Sometimes, you kind of, as a parent, sometimes, even though you're going through the grief, you don't necessarily seek out the support and the help. How do you find and maneuver to get parents to kind of come in and support the student as well as, because you're there to support the family? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you bring in the parent to help in the process of support as more like a family support service or a support system from the school perspective? Dr. Conway?
Thank you. Yeah, so what we're doing in our work Mr. Trueheart, is, we've partnered with NJ, PSA, and FEA to help us with becoming healing centers. And we know in our work and learning about trauma that trauma is vicarious, right? So trauma can be passed down from generation to generation. And all of us, I'm sure, at some point in our lives have been in our homes when there was something going on and we could tell our parents were upset, or we could tell there was some tension in the house. Wasn't really related to us, but we could just feel that. And as children, when our parents are going through things, we kind of internalize those issues ourselves and those feelings ourselves. So we have to explain to our parents. We have to give our parents strategies for dealing with stress, for dealing with trauma, because, as I mentioned, it's passed down into their children, and it often manifests itself as disruptive behavior in schools. So part of the HCE initiative is involving the parents in that conversation, getting the community involved, because sometimes the trauma doesn't live within the child. It's not a traumatic event that the child experienced, but they may live in a traumatic situation. And so we know that the environments sometimes have issues in the community that maybe aren't pleasant. Some things that we don't have to experience in our lives, but our children go through some trying situations, if you will, in their neighborhoods. And so we have to involve the community, because this is not a one and done type of thing. All of us have some vested interest here, right? So it's the parents, it's the community. So we're inviting them in, we're involving them in our healing-centered engagement initiatives. As we put together our visioning plans for our schools, that incorporates input from our various stakeholders. So that's one way that we're getting it out to our parents.
One of the experiences that I had, I live in the city of Trenton, and my son's a student, senior at Trenton Central High School, graduating class of 2023. And I can remember, you talk about trauma and the environment that we live in here in the city. And this is not everywhere, right? It doesn't happen all the time, but I can remember hearing gunshots. And I remember one time I heard, I thought I heard a bullet ricochet off my house. And I say that to say that you talk about the environment and the trauma. I still remember, right? I still remember that. I remember being in my bedroom, waking up, and I have windows in my bedroom. I remember hearing boom, 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 boom. I hear some bing off. I said, I know for a fact, I know they better not have shot and have ricochet off my house. And then I heard down the street one time also. It, again, doesn't happen on a regular basis, but frequently sometimes you do hear gun violence in our city. And that right there is the environment that we live in. I know that our police director, as well as our mayor, is working to rectify and to curb some of the guns in the city and some of the gun violence that we face here in the city. But that is trauma because of the environment. So I certainly understand that. And sometimes my son, I'm walking home from school. I'm like, well, wait a minute. It makes me think. Wait a minute. Maybe you shouldn't be walking home from school. Right. Maybe I should be picking you up and bringing you back and forth. And so, I mean, all that factors into the trauma that our community goes through. And that's a very, very small level, right? That's very, very small in comparison to some of the experience that other folks have in our city.
And to your point, Mr. Trueheart, and I'm sure in a situation like that, if you lived in a particular area of town where that might happen a little bit more frequent, and so your parents will tell you, you know what, you have to come in when you come home from school, you stay in the house, your friends can come over, but you're not going to go outside. And so not being able to go outside and knowing that you can't go outside because it's unsafe. And then you start to, perseverate, if you will, on those types of things and the impact that has on you. And, all of this stuff has a lasting effect on our children. And so we need to make sure that when they get to our schools, they know that our schools are a safe place for them. They know it's a place where they can, be loved on and be appreciated and respected. And so all of these things are important. And this is part of the work that we're doing with our Healing-Centered Engagement Initiative.
And so if I may, Mr. Trueheart, I'd like to jump on that a little bit further, because Dr. Conway has some amazing work going on in partnership with the Healing Center at the district level and school levels when it comes to the district crisis team part of the work that the team has done is to develop some very solid relationships with organizations in and around Trenton and the Mercer County area. So kind of to go back to your question about family engagement, when we have to deal with a situation where, let's say, unfortunately, there's a loss of a student, our team members have developed some pretty solid relationships with folks like the Mercer County Coalition for Loss. So we're able to set families up with counseling services. I think in one instance recently, we were able to connect with another organization to help with things like funeral costs, some of the things that, may not be top of mind, as it were, when it comes to the loss of a child, especially a young child. And so we are blessed to have some real solid relationships with organizations who are able to provide some of these services for our parents that we maybe as district employees, counselors, and other folks may not be able to provide directly from ourselves. So we have a fairly lengthy list of services and organizations we tap into as necessary and when the situation presents itself. So I think from the district crisis team level and in terms of dealing with grief, trauma, particularly during the holidays, I know that's kind of the focus of the conversation, but I would not want to forget to point out some of the connections and some of the relationships we have with organizations in and around Trenton and Mercer County area.
Absolutely, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Just thinking about, loss around the holidays and thinking about a young child, thinking about the loss of a mother or a father or a brother or sister. And, when you come around Thanksgiving or Christmas and it's around the holidays, you begin to think about and you're slowful and you're grieving and to believe and to know and to understand that we have opportunities or that's child, even the parent, loss of a child or loss of a husband or wife or significant other or partner, has the city and has the Trenton Public Schools. And in fact, if I have a child there, the crisis center and the crisis team is there to support me. And so I know you probably already shared how a parent would contact, but just want to ask that question again. Maybe you can reiterate. If I'm a parent in grief and I need support and I want to reach out, how do I go about reaching out to the district to get support and get help?
If I can say, every school has a school counselor or at least a social worker. So that's usually the first person that would be contacted to help with that. And we have an extensive resource list that we share among counselors to help parents, to help students. There's a wealth of services in Mercer County itself. Outside of the traumatic loss, we have PEI Kids, we have goodgrief.com, which is in Princeton. So there's a wealth of resources that parents can get support from. But it starts there at the school if they don't know where else to go. We try to promote a lot of the local therapists that work within the schools. Mercer Street Friends is outside of their food services. They also help with setting parents up with services that we may not necessarily use all the time. And there are a wealth of bilingual services that are available for parents in the district. Sometimes a lot of parents may or may not know that they need help, but that reaching out from the school base area is most important. So I think that, the school is the first contact that the parents can come to.
And could I just add something as well? Was that a yes? I also just wanted to point out that there are different types of grief. So there's death, there's separation, there's divorce, there's illness. Sometimes grandparents are diagnosed with a form of dementia, and young children in particular, when the grandparent doesn't recognize them anymore, for the young child, that's devastating, because it's then it's like, what have I done that they don't recognize me anymore? So I just wanted to point out that there are different types of losses that can cause children to grieve, I'm sorry. And then there's different ways that children manifest that grief. So anything from headaches to stomach aches, sleepiness, inability to concentrate, loss of appetite. So I just wanted to point those two things out as well, because grief, the way that children experience grief looks different than the way that adults express our grief.
Yes, was when they opened it up. I'm not sure if anyone else had any comments around that. We're talking about trauma-informed care with Trenton Public Schools. Dr. Channing Conway, Assistant Superintendent, Schools of our elementary division. We also have Dr. Jose Rodriguez here with us on our broadcast, Assistant Superintendent of School Support. Thank you so much, Dr. Rodriguez, for being here. Jonathan D. Simone, Vice Principal, Trenton Central High School. Linda Watt Simpson, counselor, and good friend of mine, Melda Grant, coordinator over at Trenton High and middle school, and expanding. We expanded over the last couple of years into the middle school from the high school, supporting students around school-based youth services. And we had a broadcast a few weeks ago around Melda Grant's program. And we want to welcome Melda back again to share more information about that, as well as the rest of you. Because of the work that we're doing in the city is so very important, not only to our children, to educate our children, provide support around our children, but also for our parents and that parent engagement, that connection that Linda mentioned about the services and partnerships that we have around the city, because it's so very important. We can't do it by ourselves. We have to come together as servant leaders and work together to build ourselves up and to raise our children here in our village. We have to raise our children. So I'm going to give some closing comments to each and every one of you. We'll start with you, Linda, Jonathan, then Melda, and then we'll go to Dr. Rodriguez, and finally with you, Dr. Conway. So Linda, any closing comments that you have for us tonight?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that knowing that grief during the holidays, it's a process, but to let everybody know it's okay not to be okay. So you need to make sure that you communicate. If you need help, reach out. There's always someone that has a listening ear. So I just wanted to leave you with that. Thank you.
So I would actually second that, and I would encourage families to know that it could be anybody from a custodial staff to somebody in the lunchroom, to a para, to a teacher, a counselor, anybody, any professional in the buildings, any adult in the buildings, professional, and we'll bring information to folks like school counselors to really help deal with the situation. So the conversation and the lines of communication for parents listening, and for parents just in general, please tap into the resources in the schools at the district level.
And I would just add, during the holidays, particularly when it's your first holiday without a loved one, that it's okay to set boundaries and limits to what you are able to do. You may not feel up to cooking that large meal. You may want to have a quiet dinner. So it's okay to allow yourselves and your children to have that experience the best way that you can have it.
And thank you, and good evening, everyone. And yes, and as we work with our students, we're starting to notice that adults are starting to express a lot of trauma that they've gone through as well. So an unintended consequence, but also a positive benefit of it, is that as your students, as your children speak about those things at home, that may bring out some things as parents. And again, as others have said before, please reach out to schools, and we can definitely help you, connect you with someone that can help.
And lastly, I want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues before me, but I also just want to add too, in a discussion that I had just this week with somebody who lost their son earlier this school year, and just how he supported his other children through the loss of their sibling. And one thing that he said that resonated with me that I just want to leave with everybody is that he said to his children that it's okay for us to live through this and to enjoy life after this. We don't have to feel guilty that we're enjoying the holidays in the absence of somebody else, right? It's okay to live through it. Otherwise, we'll crumble behind it. And so I just want to leave folks with that. Enjoy the holidays. It's going to be tough, but it's okay to enjoy the family and your loved ones around you.
Thank you, Dr. Conway and Linda, of course, Jonathan and Melda and Dr. Jose. I appreciate you being a part of the broadcast. Very important topic tonight around trauma-informed care and the crisis team coming together and dealing with crisis around the holidays and trying to help folks to get through it, right? And not be afraid to reach out and to say, I need help. And so I appreciate it. We have had some resources on the screen. We had the griefshare.org resource on the screen, and the phone number for Trenton Public Schools as well as our website is on the screen as well. So reach out. Of course, the first line would be counselors, as Linda said, counselors in the school, and all of you have said the same thing. So I want to appreciate you. I appreciate our listeners for listening to us, and those who are listening to us on a rebroadcast on WIMG 1300 AM at 7 o'clock on Tuesday evenings, and on PHY Verizon Channel 28 on Thursdays at 11 p.m. We will rebroadcast this out. It's live right now on True Heart TV, both on Facebook and YouTube. So we have our live stream, then we'll have our rebroadcast with our sponsors. I want to thank God for our sponsors, WIMG 1300 AM, as well as Verizon, WPHY Channel 28, for sponsoring the broadcast for us to get the information out to various channels and to our community and to our listeners and to our families and to our students, so they know that we here, we care, we're here to help, we're here to provide support, and don't be afraid to reach out to us, any one of us, for support and for help, to lead you in the right direction and provide those services to other community organizations and partnerships that we have partnerships with that can provide those services. So thank you so much, Melda. Again, Jonathan, Linda, Dr. Jose, and Dr. Channing. God bless you. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys. See you guys in a few. God bless you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving.